Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick and mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I am passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you were meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I am your host, Ali Aruda, and I am joined by
Matt Aruda.
I swear every time you say your name as a special guest, you have a different tone.
Sorry, keep them guessing.
Keep things exciting.
Keep people on their toes.
Well, speaking of exciting, we are back. This is our first episode together since coming home from beautiful and sunny and warm Los Angeles, California. We were there last week for our second round of Chris and Lori Harder's dinner series event. It was amazing. We were first away back in February in Scottsdale, Arizona for dinner series number 1. And this was our big investment this year for our personal growth and business growth is their dinner series program. And it has been awesome.
It's been very expansive, right?
Yes.
Meeting a lot of really great people from different walks of life and different industries that all bring their own angle of business experience, but also underlining that we all kind of go through a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, and there are always so many amazing lessons. Should you choose to have your eyes open, your heart open, your minds open, and choose to see them and receive them? And that's something that we are really excited to dive into today. We want to share 6 of our takeaways from the dinner series that really hit home for us. And we have another episode coming from the special guest that joined us at the dinner series. Some of our big valuable lessons from him as well.
Yeah, it was very cool.
We should just say who it is so people are really excited and anticipating that episode.
The one and only Brendan Burchard.
He was amazing, you guys. And I actually had the privilege of seeing him speak last year at his big Growth Day live event in Austin with my mom. It was a 4-day event, and he is like this high vibe energizer bunny. And I feel like you have heard me talk about him for the last year, and then you got to see him.
Yeah, he is exactly how he is marketed. That guy is always on. Mm-hmm. And I think, I'd have a hard time believing that if you aren't naturally wired that way, that you could just be that way. So I just think he's just that kind of a guy, a really good guy, a really nice guy who wants to help, wants to make you better.
It was such a gift to have him in our room. There was 110 of us in this room at the beautiful Mayborn Beverly Hills Hotel, and he just really rocked that room.
Yeah.
You know what else rocked that room? The fact that every single one of us had a box of Glossy at our tables.
That was a nice little surprise.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell everyone what you're doing right now.
I've got 30 days of Glossy leading up to my birthday in early July. And so we're going to see what 30 days of consistent Glossy usage means for a guy who is athletic and is always on the go and needing to be strong-minded, strong-bodied, all of these things that I needed to incorporate into whatever my routine is on a daily basis, while obviously trying to feel and look my best as a 41-year-old. We're going to see what this is going to do between now and that next 30 days, bringing me right up to that 41st birthday. I expect big things. I have no doubt it's going to execute, but I expect big things.
I love that for you. You're going to get your glow on.
Yeah, I'm in my Glossy era.
Yes, you are. And actually, speaking of Glossy era, for any of you that want to get into your Glossy era, I got a hot takeaway also.
Did you ever, man?
Yeah. So As a fun fact here, guys, if you've been listening to the show, you know we have some Glossy drop-ins at some ads, and I like to include that in my show notes so that you guys had the link and discount code that used to be for 15% off. Update, that promo code INSPIRE is now for 25% off. So do yourself a favor.
Pretty wild, to be honest.
And
truly.
Treat yourself to some Glossy. Best results are sort of the 30, 60, 90 days to really see and feel the effects of it. And I mean, hey, Matt's going to be a walking product of the product.
I think I grew another ab overnight already.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So now I'm up to 9, which is impressive.
Great. So we've got 9 abs over here, and we
Yeah.
have 6 takeaways from the dinner series. So
Let's
just chasse over here to what we're here to chat about. And you're going to take it away with number 1.
Yeah, number 1. So, I mean, let's be clear. We could 100% come up with more than 6 things we took away from the dinner series, and more than that. The dinner series is just a name. It's just a title. What it was putting yourself in a room with remarkably well thought out and executed human beings in whatever walk of life they choose to see themselves in, business, professionally, for sure. Personally speaking, these are all people of high integrity. So these are all great people. It would be very easy to find more than 6 things to take away. But for the sake of trying to make this efficient, we're going to try and cherry pick the 6 best. And the very first thing we thought of is be where your people are. What we mean by that is, we'll give you an example. When we were thinking of going to LA for this event, it's only a 1-day event, but we're going there for 4 days because why wouldn't you? It's beautiful Los Angeles, and try to bookmark on either end of this event day a little bit more time to do whatever it is you want to do. Meet with some other friends, enjoy the weather, as it were. In Allie's case, we booked a podcast day for some remarkable upcoming interviews that are yet to hit, but they're coming. They're in the bank, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But this hotel that we stayed at is not necessarily a hotel that Allie and I would initially first put our hand up for. And it isn't because it's absolutely spectacular, because it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, we got in there, and within 12 seconds of us being in this hotel, we were told that, oh, J-Lo's staying here. J-Lo is staying there. If it's good for J-Lo, it's pretty much good for anybody else on the face of the earth. So that's the level of what this place is, kind of smack dab in the middle of Beverly Hills. And all of that is to say that because that is where the dinner series event was being held, it naturally had a hell of a portion of the attendees also staying there. 110 of us, like Ali said, as a whole going to this event. Even if 20% of those attendees were in that hotel, you're still talking about 25 to 30 people that are in that hotel. And the reason why that's important is because we found ourselves at other parts of that 4-day stay at this hotel having these almost serendipitous meetings, these serendipitous collisions with these people who, a lot of which have become friends, whether it be as part of our first dinner series, certainly after we met them this second dinner series, where we would then see them after the event, whether it be at breakfast or whatever that might be. And you kind of pick up from where you left off, whether it be in the last dinner series or at what you spoke about in this specific evening at this dinner series. So my point is, you get a hell of a lot more value by putting yourself in a location where you can extend the reason why you're there and dig a little bit deeper outside of just the allocated hours that you had within that afternoon of networking or that evening to have dinner. You stretch yourself essentially, right? You know, when you get into a place like that and you're looking at where this place is in the realm of everything else in the world, its zip code is literally 90210. It doesn't get any more lofty than that. And that's not typical for us coming from small town ish here in Ontario, Canada. So when you're there, of course, it doesn't feel real at times. So you are stretching yourself, maybe a little financially, sure. But more than that, it puts you in a position, I think, to have these conversations with more and more people that you wouldn't otherwise be able to have the chance to do if you were looking to save $50 a night or $100 a night and hang out at I'm going to throw it out there, a Ramada Inn or a Holiday Inn that happens to be closer to the airport for the sake of saving, a couple $100 over the course of your term, whatever that might be. Yeah. The value we got out of spending a little bit more money with the conversations and the takeaways from those conversations thereafter, tell me that they're not worth every dollar of that. Of course they were.
Well, one of my favorite areas of the hotel where we would have these serendipitous collisions was actually the gym. Yeah. And not that we would sit and have these long, in-depth deep chats in the gym. Everyone was very respectful of our time in the gym, of being there for a specific purpose. But I loved the parallel of being there to better ourselves personally and professionally. And I think that was just this beautiful reflection of what you do in the gym also. And we've been seeing a lot of that in our business and just our lifestyle. I feel like we've had that conversation a lot. And that was one of my big takeaways for the collisions, is seeing how many friends that we did run into in the gym.
Well, that goes without saying, right? People have thought that and have said that for a while. We've read that for a little while now. Being your best self is more than just being the smartest version of yourself. You have to also look after yourself first. So you make sure that you are physically right to start every day, whatever that looks like, whether it be an intake of lemon water or your supplements or both. Glow-C, hitting the gym. I know our routine typically includes the gym at the beginning of the morning. That's just how our schedule works per se. But the point being is that the gym is part of most successful people's routine on a daily basis. So maybe it wasn't so much, shouldn't have been at least so much of a surprise that we see a lot of these other high performers happening to start their day in the place that we obviously find ourselves most mornings as well.
Yeah, it's a whole other extension of personal development.
Yeah.
Love that.
Exactly.
Okay, number 2, be memorable.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's sort of a 2A and a 2B. Be memorable. So one of the first guest speakers that we had at the dinner series was Mike Ganino. He is a keynote speaker coach and had this effervescent personality that took the stage. And he really talked about how to craft your story and being memorable and not being, I think there's this world of I help people X, Y, or Z. And you see it a lot in like Instagram bios. And I think there was certainly a time and a place for that. But I think there is also the opportunity to confuse many people when you are trying to be so specific with what you do and who you help, that when you get into a room of high level individuals that are there to network, they're going to be like, wait, hang on, Matt Ruda, what does he do? He helps high achieving men in their 40s. Like, if you're so specific, you're not going to be memorable. So you want to have a story that is a beautiful reflection of who you are and what you do, that people will remember it and refer it out, and they will think of you when they're in a room that you aren't necessarily in. So how can you be memorable? By crafting your story. The 2B is how to be memorable by how do you enter the room? How do you light up the room? What are you wearing? Are you dressing for success? Are you dressing for your higher level self? Like that next level that you're going to go towards? And I feel like that is something that I actually picked up from that room, because a few of our friends, some that we've now known for over a year and some that we met just this trip, are professional stylists. And I have loved my conversations with them, hearing and understanding how they have their approach to their business. That, one of them is very much a mindset and mindfulness approach to how you style yourself and how you dress for the day and events. And I think that is something that we have the power to think about when going into these rooms is, what are you wearing? I just recently shared a reel for my daytime outfit that I had the opportunity to work with Woven, a beautiful boutique here in downtown Burlington. And I went in and said to them, like, this is the look that I'm going for. This is my vision of how I want to appear in this daytime event, something that is classic, but yet exudes confidence. And they put together an outfit for me that was a reflection of how I wanted to look and feel. And I think there is something really powerful in having that preparation ahead of time before you go on this trip or into this room. Is, what is it that you're going to wear? Have it planned out. Be very intentional with what you're going to wear and what are the emotions and the feelings that you want to extract from that outfit.
Yeah, that was a great outfit. Actually, it was, it hit the nail on the head. It seemed powerful and confident and all the rest. And that's important, obviously. And that is a first impression kind of component. Mm-hmm. But kind of going beyond that now, once you have those conversations with the people that are in that room, whether it be real quick introductions and you're moving on to the next, or you're really getting into it with somebody, I think the key is to leave the complexities behind. You want to speak in the most simplistic way possible. You don't want to make it difficult for somebody to follow along with what you are saying, with trying to remember what you said, because the whole point here is, in these kinds of higher paced, higher valued network timeframes, You want to leave them with understanding what you do so that they can remember you when that time comes down the road when your services or your skill set is required. You want to be the first person that they think of when it comes across their radar of what it is that you offer, what it is that you're so amazing at. So you want to almost think of things like, what is the most simple title you can give yourself when you're introducing yourself? Whatever that looks like. I know a lot of us wear a lot of hats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as simple as saying, I'm an engineer, or I am a grade 7 teacher, or whatever it is that a lot of other people might have on their pay stubs. If you carry a lot of things with you every day in your role of obligations, then try to give yourself a one sentence, completely dumbed down version of what you do, but in a way that makes it very easy for them to understand. You don't want to say, I do a great job at making 40-year-old men feel their best. What the hell does that mean? I mean, that could mean a lot.
Yes.
That could mean a lot, and we'll leave that there, Allison. However, if it is something that you are able to coach somebody, maybe 40-something-year-old men that you are coaching in their first foray going back into a dating scene, maybe coming out of their a newly ended relationship, maybe there's a way you can say that allows for the person you're talking to understand exactly the hell you're talking about, and know that it's niche. Know that you're not going to be able to speak to anybody and everybody you come across with the means of being able to impact them immediately. But if you're clear and concise with who and what you do, it's a hell of a lot easier for that other person who maybe just met you for the first time to remember that for the rest of their life.
And one thing I just want to add here, because this was actually my question for him, because I sometimes feel that I have like an identity Rubik's Cube in my brain of like, what do? I do so many things. And I had asked that specific question, what do you do if you,
Who are you speaking to?
well, to myself and asking Mike, the guest speaker, I asked him specifically, what do you do for a 30-second memorable intro if you do a variety of things? And between Mike, the guest speaker at the dinner series, as well as some peers in the room, almost gave the permission that it is totally okay to be that multi-passionate entrepreneur. And I think there's another phrase, that multi-hyphen, that you do a lot of things. And so you can certainly incorporate that into your 30-second elevator pitch of who you are and what you do. You can include, I'm a gym owner and personal trainer and a personal brand podcaster, and I can say everything. But there's also power in knowing your audience. What kind of event are you at? So if I was at a fitness expo, for sure I'm a gym owner and a personal trainer. But if I'm at a podcast expo, I want to be a podcaster. Or are you an author? So I think there's this nice balance and harmony that you could find of sharing all the things you do in a clear and concise, memorable way. But then there's also opportunity where you can just dip in and extract the one thing that you want to lean with based off of the time and place and people that you're around.
Perfect. I think that the third thing that we took away from this is expand your network.
Woo!
I mean, obviously, we've been yelling this from the mountaintops for as long as you've been recording this podcast, and we've known this well before that. But you need to ask yourself, how is it that you expand your network? Is it enough to just ask somebody for a coffee, or is it enough just to introduce yourself in a room full of 100 plus other people for 5 minutes and expect that person to remember who you are and what you do forever? And the reality is, no, that's not going to be the case. You're not typically, unless you are JLo, most of us do not have that staying power. We don't typically have a reputation that precedes us that allows people to know exactly who we are and what we do prior to us opening our mouth to tell them. So if we are going to speak to them, I think the best way that you can determine how someone is going to remember you is how you left them feeling. So you want to make sure that you're asking important questions, and you want to make sure that you are of service to them first. And when you do that, they then automatically almost let their guard down. They're able to speak with you in a way that allows you to know what is the most important thing for them and how you can help them get there. And sometimes you can't specifically, but maybe you do know somebody who can. And that's just as powerful to be able to now utilize your own network to bring this person in to that network, almost be a connector of these two worlds. And you're sure as hell making sure that that person will not forget who you are if what you did was help move their own needle, if even if it wasn't you who did it yourself.
It's very much like that service energy.
Yeah.
And then that is something that will, it's almost like the boomerang effect of service energy, of how can you be of service for somebody else and move what you just said, move the needle forward for them. That seems, depending on your mindset, can seem counterintuitive, but it's actually for the greater good. And that is how you will then move the needle on your business and your personal growth.
And a really simple thing to take away from this, and this goes to anything, this is kind of the first day of sales 101. Follow up. Even if you're not following up to ask them if they're interested in pursuing anything with you or anything that you bring to the table per se, you just want to follow up at the very least and say, hey, it was great to talk to you. It was nice to meet you. Looking forward to seeing you again. Don't hesitate to let me know if you need anything or if I can be of any help with the people that I know that could help you moving forward. That's it. That's literally, you can take it verbatim if you wanted to. It's 2 sentences, maybe 3 sentences. You shoot off the text, you send the voice note, a DM, whatever it is. And I guarantee you just that separates you from 90% of the other people that those people met in the same room at the same time.
So good. And that's actually a really awesome transition to number 4, which is take 1 to 2 days off after the event. And I know you're probably listening to that and be like, take 1 to 2 days off. What do you mean? But it's true. And we've actually have learned this over the last year because we have had a lot of these trips earmarked in our calendar over the last year and a half. And we are now learning that, okay, it's actually a really great idea to have 1 to 2 days extended into our trip after the event. And it can be for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it is just to have additional quality time with the people that you connect with, which for this particular trip to LA, that's how we spent our Friday. We had a dinner already booked with some really amazing friends, and then we spent breakfast with, a friend. But there's also power in having that space for some mental clarity, because I don't know about any of you listening that go to events like this, but for us, our brains were really, really full. I think they kind of still are, of amazing, big, expansive things. But by taking that 1 to 2 days off after the event, whether you come home and you sit in quiet and stillness, or you stay where you might be traveling to, and if that feels better for you, you want to have this time and space so that you can focus on the follow-up and making connections, sending those texts, DMs, voice notes, and following through with the connections that you made in the room that you just spent good time and money to be in. Maybe you just need time to review your notes, journal, put an action plan together. How are you going to come back and take action on everything that you either learned or were inspired to do, and come back and have that action plan ready to go? We did this last year when we went to Chris Harder's roundtable for the very first time. I remember that we went to our favorite coffee shop. We had a coffee date. We did just like a big brain dump on a laptop. And that turned into so much expansive, big action that was moving the needle ultimately on our goal. But it took those tangible steps and intentional steps that we needed to take to get there. But it could also just be some time and space to realign your energy. You're operating at a high frequency in rooms like that.
High speed.
And high speed. You're having these conversations. Maybe you would like to have more time for these conversations, but you don't want to miss out on connecting with somebody else. And so there's something to be said for just sit in that quiet and stillness and get realigned with your own energy.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. With that, let's go to number 5.
Love it.
Number 5, and this has got to make everybody feel good. Nobody has it all figured out. We're in a room this past week where there are multiple, and I mean like many people who earn 7 figures a year crushing what they do for a living. And they don't have it all figured out. That's why they're there. All of a sudden, we're on the exact same playing field where the greatest equalizer is this space where we're all there trying to learn. We're all still students. And it's the most important part of anything that you want to grow in is not assuming that you have it all figured out, not assuming that you know it more than the guy or the girl sitting beside you. So just showing up is half the battle. I almost think of it like working out as well. Just get to the gym. That's half the battle. You getting there means that you've given yourself a significantly greater advantage than the other 90 some odd percent of the people who thought about going to the gym that morning, but because it was a touch too cold, or maybe it's about to rain, or they need to get something out of the freezer to defrost for dinner tonight, whatever the effing excuse is, they don't do it. But the ones that do are the ones that put themselves in a position of literal growth, if we're talking about gym spaces. But in the case of the dinner series, getting to the room, and it could be any room, the dinner series is obviously a very specific space, but getting into a room where you know you're going there open minded, listening to the people that have either A, been in your position and have been through what you're going through before, but B, just as importantly, finding the people that can walk you through those dilemmas and those scenarios so you don't need to be in the depths longer than a minute more than necessary. And all of that starts with just making sure that you're there. Once you're there, it's really quick before you recognize that most people, if not everybody in that room, and we've been in rooms where there's 12 of us in these masterminds, and we've been in this room where there's 110 people, which was the case this past week. And everybody's common line throughout is that we're all trying to be better. We're all trying to get further than what we came in there as. And if that's the case, no matter what you do for a living or how long you've been doing it, that means that we're all there to support each other because we're all looking to all looking to achieve the same thing, which is effectively success. On however you want to determine that on your own terms, financially, time, both, whatever it is that you want to figure out is most important to you. It starts with you being there and having an open mind to accept the help and the experience from the people that are there with you.
I feel like you just set me up so effortlessly for number 6. We're going to bring
do
it
it.
home with takeaway number 6. And that is to be the energy that you want back. And you just kind of, yeah, as I said, you set me up for this because how are you showing up into that room? You know, you want to be memorable. We already talked about that. But are you going to show up and play full out? Or are you going to roll in like 10 minutes late? You're going to have a seat in the back and maybe you need to take a bathroom break right away. No, you gotta get your shit together. You want to be there early. You want to have your water, have some snacks, have your notebook ready to go, and play full out. I am such a keener when we go to these events that I want to be there as soon as registration starts, as soon as the doors open. I want a front row keener seat so that if I have a question, the person is going to see me with my hand up and my question is going to get answered. I want great content. I don't want a bunch of ponytails and earrings in my shot. I want to have great, clear photos and videos because content is everything in this day and age. And it is this direct reflection of the room that you have just spent time, money, and energy to be in. And also, you never know who might ask you for your content. Maybe the event host, though they probably have all their people set in stone of who is consuming and taking the content for them, but maybe there's that one extra angle that they don't have set and organized, and you are going to be the one that can help them with that. So you never know how that keener seat, if you will, can roll out for you. But just show up and play full out with great energy. Ask questions, cheer people on, applaud, give a standing ovation. You know, these people, like for dinner series, Chris and Lori have spent a lot of time and energy curating this room, this experience. Their team has worked remarkably hard to make it a beautiful and memorable event that we have spent her hard-earned money and time and energy being in. And you want to pay back that energy to them, that they've worked really hard to produce this event. So don't show up like a bump on a log. You know, just like have this great energy and be memorable in an energetic fashion. That is a huge takeaway for me over my years of going to events, big and small. Kind of like what you were just saying, you know, we've been in a 12-person room, an event. I've also been in conventions, like there's thousands of people. It's a bit of a different experience when you're one of 6,000, but that's also a very different scale of energy. And I just think that is something that you are in control of when you go into these rooms, is how you show up. How you show up energetically. Did you get a good night's sleep? Did you have breakfast? If you're a coffee person, have a coffee, get a workout in, even if it's like 20 minutes that you're moving your body. That's always a priority for us when we go in and show up into these rooms and events and experiences, is to ensure that our non-negotiable of having morning movement, our morning gratitudes, that is something that we do every morning before these events, because that's part of personal development. That's part of how we take care of ourselves. And that energy is setting the tone for how we're going to roll out into the event.
You get what you give ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with these kinds of events, the answers to what you're looking for, the answers as to why you're there, are at the front of the room. They're on the stage, whether it be the curators of the event itself, whether it be the speakers that they have brought on. It's all intentionally put in a way as to give you the answers to what you're looking for. So if you know that there was the winning lottery tickets on the front of the stage, it was there. They're there. They're telling you what the numbers are. Why wouldn't you be paying attention to every single thing about that presentation if it meant you come away from it richer in however you want to define richer? But would you not show up 100% for the entire time you're there, and prior to you even getting there, to give yourself the ability to make sure you're going to observe and absorb as much of that as possible? If they are the winning lottery tickets to set you up potentially for the rest of your life, of course you would. It'd be crazy not to.
Mm-hmm.
So point being is, you talk about you getting there to be one of the first ones in the room, to getting a good seat, make sure you have a good angle, to make sure that you are all in. You better believe that all of that magnetic energy will only attract the exact kind of thing that you are looking to take out accordingly every single time. So if you were to come in 10 minutes late, if you're going to slide in missing half of the first part of the introduction, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get crap. It's not gonna play out the way you intended it to, and why should it? You didn't give the attention that it deserved. The kind of level of expectation that you have of it is not in line with what you gave first. It kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this. You have to make sure that you are putting in what it is that you want to take out. And if you're not there first, no part of that event or the universe surrounding it is going to meet you halfway.
Well, you're instantly removing a percentage. Like you are no longer, no matter how you cut it, you are not receiving 100% of the event and the experience. Because if you showed up 10 minutes late, you're already in a deficit.
Yep.
But I feel like we could do a quick little recap of our 6 takeaways.
Number 1, be where your people are.
Number 2, be memorable.
Number 3, expand your network.
Number 4, take 1 to 2 days off after the event.
Number 5, no one has it all figured out.
And number 6, be the energy that you want back.
That's it, guys.
That one gets me fired up. Speaking of energy, well, I could run through a wall, because it's just, we're like days away, not like a week and a half away from our first mastermind, our Get in the Room 1-day mastermind.
Yep.
On June 20th. I am so excited. And we were actually chatting about this earlier this morning on a dog walk, how, we like to look at our weeks every Sunday of what, is on it in terms of meetings, and we have one car. So where am I versus where are you, and being organized.
Who's Ubering where?
Yeah. What does our menu look like? Healthy eating, high protein. We just like to be in tune with what our week is looking like. And then we were fast forwarding to Mastermind Week, which also happens to be the week that our best friends come home finally, after not seeing them for 2 years, from Australia, and chatting about our reunion, but also wanting to ensure that we have a quiet, very chill, very healthy, early to bed night on the 19th, because it is important to be the energy that we want back from everyone that has invested their time and energy and money to join us in the room on the 20th.
It's going to be a great room. It's a great location. It's a great premise. It's 1 day, so it's not a crazy long commitment. But the intention is for this to move people's needles the way that us being put into those similar rooms in the last year and a half has done for us. So we're only, at least at the time of this recording, 2 spots left. Hopefully, if you're interested and you're hearing this and you're needing a little push, My voice is your push.
Yeah.
Reach out, DM, check out the Inspire and Move website. And if there's available spots still to book, it means that there's still room. And if it's something that speaks to you, it's a 1-day commitment. I promise you it will make a difference in the right way for you.
It has been so expansive and transformative for us. And I think that comes with our excitement and passion to bring this experience to the people that are going to be in that room.
That's right. Can't wait.
Speaking of people, guys, as always, thank you so much for listening and for your love and support and kind words and 5-star ratings on the podcast app and wherever you listen to your podcast.
Give this woman a 5-star rating. She
Yes.
deserves it.
Please. And maybe some kind words because I am a words of affirmation girly. I love that as well. But until then, have a wonderful day, week, weekend, evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you took 30 seconds and shared this on social media, send it to a friend, or leave a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I am so grateful to have you part of mine.